All right, so you have a curve, and you're going to create something round like this. And this is a really good way to get something that has an interior, so we can look into this, and there is modeling in there. If you were to do this with a hammer and chop the top off, there wouldn't be anything inside. It would be blank. So in order to, let me turn this into, there we go. You can see that there's mesh on both sides. If you don't have that double mesh, you look on the inside and there's nothing to be lit. All right, so we have a curve. It is a cross section of what you want. That's a little bit weird to understand, but a cross section means like if you chopped this, actually, let me go here. If we go into faces, and I chop this in half, and I delete half the faces. Oh, I missed like 2. So good otherwise. There it is. And then if we looked at it this way, and actually we would need to chop it in half. Side view? Yeah, there we go. Again. There it is. Ooh, being stubborn. This is what we're looking at. This cross section right here, that is what you're making. And then once you revolve it, it becomes a full form of something, right? But what we do is we just select it, and we go to surfaces, and there's a few here that say under create, revolve, so we're revolving it, and we're going to go to the little box. There are several settings in here we have to pay attention to. Number 1, we're revolving around the y-axis. Almost everything we make is an upright object that we're revolving. Technically speaking, there might be something you revolve around the z-axis, but like 99% of what I've done here, vases, glasses, water bottles, Sharpie markers, whatever it is, you're revolving upright. Usually going from 0 to 360. Segments around, you need more of these than you think. I usually do something that's divisible by 3 because 360 is. I don't know why. And let's see. And the default, I think, is actually going to have you with NURBS. Yeah, that's the default. So we have to, when we're in here, output geometry, we have to click to polygons. And then we have to say quads instead of triangles. And then for tessellation method, I say control points right now. If you say standard fit, I believe, yeah, we get this. We need it to be even. It's giving you more details where you need them, but that's not proper geometry. That definitely didn't work. So we're going to go by control points. And there is a problem. That's fine. We can fix it. You can see it's not nearly enough to make it round. That's okay. This was smoothed. That's one thing that made it round. Also, I'm thinking, if I remember from class, 36 might be a good number. So I'm going to go back in here. Oh, it changed it. Why did it change it? There we go. Must be when I changed it to NURBS, it changed it back to 15, which is, again, not enough. That's better. Because I'm not really changing anything in this direction. I'm changing, the shape of it this way. It is proper geometry. It doesn't look right yet, but that's easier to fix than that mess of non-quads that we had earlier. All right, other things that we would need to fix. Well, for one thing, we can't see it. This is what happens when your geometry goes in the wrong direction. And it's just because of the order that I drew the curve, the inside of it is where the geometry is. If I scroll close enough to go in, there it is. Right? If I go in there, that's where the geometry is. So if I go to surfaces, no, I lied. Mesh, display, and under normals, I say reverse. Normal is the surface direction. So if I go to that, much better. Now, you probably are noticing a few things. 1, very angular. 2, it's pinched at the bottom. 3, we've got a whole load of triangles here. That's okay. And also this. So what's happening here is that these polygons are just being asked to do too much. They're spanning too much space. This should be curved and like it can't have you can't have different lighting across one polygon. So we would just need to use some of our basic modeling tools, including our insert edge loop tool, to deal with this a little bit. And you can see as I do that, it's already giving us a little bit more to work with. Actually, you're going to start to see things get a little bit better. I'm going to use the Bevel tool. JK, come on. To get this rounded, I'm going to say 2 segments, but I'm going to put them a little bit farther away. There we go. Look at how much better the lighting gets. Look at how much better the lighting gets. And you can do the same thing pretty much everywhere, and it will start to, the lighting will get better. I have camphor turned on for all these because I'm not looking to make a super sharp edge. Remember that if you want to bevel something, you need to have, see how close this is to this, but how far that is from this. That's no good. Your bevel's not gonna like go properly. So I need to use my insert edge loop tool, which I have stored down here. I need to put in something there. And then, nope. Oh, I had the wrong thing selected. There it is. Select that. And then, again, turn up the fractions a little bit. That takes the edge away a little, so maybe I want 4 segments. There we go. And I'm starting to fix the geometry. Now, there's a little bit more work that has to be done. Obviously, under there, that's still not enough to get that kind of a curve. But what would it look like smoothed? Ah, see how much better the lighting is under there? Because there's more definition. See that hot mess? That's what you're aiming to get rid of. All this is no good. Next up on the chopping block. This all comes to a point, which is unfortunate because we don't want that. So what we can do is a couple things. One, we can go into face mode. You don't have to select all of these. We have this lovely paint select tool, which is huge right now. If you hold B and then click and drag to the left, you see it gets smaller. There we go. Your paint select tool paints a selection. Am I in the wrong mode? Face mode. There we go. Ta-da! You basically have to paint over where the center of that face is. We can't see the centers of the faces, but they're in the middle. So if you click over there, you get it. If you click over here, nothing. Ah, there we go. I think if I hold down, nope. There we go. Control with the brush will get rid of your selection. Great. So now I've got only that selected. Hopefully I can test the theory by grabbing my move tool. And oh, how very interesting it's. If we go inside, this is actually pinched in underneath. So it's not just, oh, there we go. Whoopsie doodles. I selected a whole bunch of stuff in here. So we're gonna unselect that. I don't want that selected. I only want, there we go. This is what it should look like when you have something selected. This needs to be there. And I hit delete and it punches a hole in it. You can deal with this the same way, like delete it and then replace it, but only if you're going to see all the way into the vase. We did what we did so we could see into the vase, and if you're going to see this far, yeah, that matters. Unless you're going to be dipping down into there, it doesn't matter as much. So make sure you're only spending time on stuff that matters. But now we would need to repair this, and that would mean being in edge mode. And it's a little bit tricky because looking at that is a pain. That's another reason I might get rid of it. No, I lied. Face mode. honestly, just so I don't have to look at it. Makes life a little easier. Alright, move tool, edge. Now, there's a few different ways to do this. I'm going to just double click the whole edge and click the bridge tool just so I don't have to look inside there because it's trippy. But you don't have to do that. And remember that, by the way, that your when you're underneath something, everything is backwards on your camera. And then I would use my multi-cut tool to start cutting across here to have proper edge loops. Now you don't go across like this, that would just get us where we were before. We have to go across like this. And, whoop, nope. It's a little bit tedious, but a lot of things in here are, and it matters that we get things to where you want them, to how they're gonna function. No. No, 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 no. I don't know what that was. If things don't look right, undo immediately. Don't run with it. You can see it's cutting across, which is nice, so you don't have to like click on all those. You can just click on some of them. And I'm using this as my middle point, so if I went 1, 2, 3 here, I have to go 1, 2, no, for heaven's sake, 3 here. And then so I got 1, basically trying to make it even. There will be, you know, something that doesn't come through. Eventually there has to be a 4-sided poly here. So this has to come down, this has to come across, and then this doesn't do anything. JK. Like I said, it is a little bit tedious. There we go. Now, actually, I have to decide. I have 1, 2, 3 on each side here, and I have 1, 2, 3 on each side here. So the question is, do I cut across here, or do I cut across here? And it's completely arbitrary. As long as I do the same thing on both sides, it kind of doesn't matter. And there you have it. So now, although I'm quite sure I messed up something. One thing you can do, this grid looks not great. So you could like pull these out here. Actually, now is a good time to talk about, well, there is a thing called soft select. So I can bring up this, double clicking here, and I can turn on soft select. Whoa. And turn the volume down. The volume, there we go. Soft select means these two are selected and then these other ones are like mildly selected, and the smaller the number, the less that's selected. There we go. And so if and that was dumb of me because I should have been doing this with the, I wonder if it'll carry over. Nope. Well, kind of, yeah. I wanted to use the scale tool, not the move tool. But if I turn this to 0.3, what'll happen is, there we go. You see how some things are moving a little bit? Ooh, I missed. I'm not paying attention. There it is. So I can like round out this bottom a little bit. So you can use soft select for stuff like this as well, so that you don't have this like weird grid at the bottom, because ideally that's not what you would have. And then like this. We did not talk about soft select in class yet, so if you're watching this video after class and you're like, what is she talking about? That you're not misremembering. This is something I've just added because it made sense to here. But you would kind of repair that. Again though, do you have to? Like, ask yourself, am I going to see this, or is it going to be on the table? Now, that's how you would repair it. You'd spend more time than I just did because I don't want to bore you. But that is how you would repair things. All right. So bevel tool, insert edge loop tool, and eventually you get to something like this. Although I need to turn the smooth off. I deleted history, so I can't unsmooth this. Smoothing even this one gets you a somewhat better result. Now, the last thing we have to worry about with this, whether you smooth it or not, whether you fix the bottom or not. You revolve the curve, and then you're like, great, that's one vase. I want to make a slightly different one. So I'm going to go back to this curve, and I'm going to go to control vertex. I'm going to start moving it, and whoa. So it's connected. These things are still connected. If I click on this and I go to Attribute Editor, and I go all the way back, Revolve 1, it's still attached. So what I would do normally is I would go back before it was smoothed, and then edit delete by type history on the vase, not on the curve. The history for this thing is on the vase. Edit delete by type history. And now if I move this curve, nothing happens. And then this is still unsmooth, so if I wanted to make other edits, I could, and then I could go back and smooth it. That's what I didn't do with this one. I smoothed it and then deleted history. That was a bad idea. I'm always saying that smoothing is like a semi-one-way street. Welcome to the one-way street. I can't get rid of this extra. I mean, I can, but it's a rigmarole that's not worth it. But editing this would also be very difficult. I've kind of boxed myself into a corner. All right, so now I can change this and I can revolve a different shape, maybe a fishbowl, maybe a drinking glass, whatever it is, and you easily get something that has an interior. Technically speaking, you could, make a cube, round it out like we did the hammer, and then extrude the top inward a little bit and push it down again, which works out, but not for... First of all, it's not perfectly revolved the way this is. This is a perfect symmetry. But also, it gets harder once you get to the inside. Just to give something a little bit of a lip, like a little couple things down here, that's easier. But to give something, let me go here, that full interior, that's a little bit trickier.